Chovy is the best League player in the world.
And it will be the Otacon over to the side of Gen Z. Now a big sweep on a Zeus, and the damage from the soldiers is gigantic right next to that wall. As Hackett gets away somehow at the end of it all. He does it again. The Quadra comes through, and Chovy comes in and picks up the pentakill.
He might be the best mechanical player ever.
Facebreaker is Glasgow utilized by Chovy. He's running out of mana though.
Oh, he just gets the kill under Showmaker and wanders his way out.
There's so many standing structures up for Gen Z.
I mean, Faker and
The defense! Chovy gets him! Chovy, you psychopath!
초비 선수 보면 항상 한계가 없는 것 같아요.
But staying on top in a game like League means keeping ahead of your rivals. Challengers are always coming for the throne, and the greatest team in history is snapping at Chovy's heels.
It feels fake talking about them. It's like we're all just living in an anime, and Faker is clearly the protagonist.
Finding an angle now, Faker who might be in trouble. Ulti going across, but Owner is here to respond, and they're looking to turn back. A good ulti coming in from Honky, but he gets cut down where he stands.
Steel sharpens steel. Greatness breeds greatness. And in Vancouver, when the greatest players in the game clashed, we got two series we'll never forget.
Toro looking for the encounter gate. A nice interrupt to stop from getting in the midst of the entire lineup. Carrier barely holding on alive, and they get the Otacon! Guma steals it! Guma free firing, but Chovy flashes forward, finds the CC, quick QSS, ulti out. The fight is so damn close. Ruler, one more bullet into the ulti!
One final game. Gen G tie up the series. We're going to game 5.
Before we get into the video, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Omen, for being our portal to possibility by sending our crew on an esports world tour. Our second stop this year was at one of League of Legends' most prestigious events, the Mid-Season Invitational in Vancouver, Canada. Unleash your ultimate gaming potential with the Omen Max 16 laptop. Crafted for powerful performance, the Omen Max 16 is equipped with up to an Intel Core Ultra 9 processor, offering gamers desktop-level performance anywhere, encased in a light, portable body they can take on the go. Then there's also a groundbreaking new self-cleaning fan technology called Fan Cleaner. Powered by Intel, this built-in feature periodically reverses the fan's direction to prevent dust buildup for absolutely peak reliable performance. And for the first time ever, Omen gives players the ability to manually overclock their laptop CPU and GPU for max performance, up to 250 watts total processing power without having to go into the BIOS. Thanks again to Omen for helping players navigate through any gaming obstacle to reach new levels with the Omen Max 16, now available at omen.com. And now, let's get back to our story.
Chovy's moving over. Tarzan has barely
It's a one-way trip, and
He
he
has
goes!
the flash, and he doesn't get it! As Tarzan gets so much back from the Kingship. Four-man shockwave!
It took Jun Chovy Jihoon a long time to finally win his first international title. Chovy was a master of his lane for years. He was incredible at finding angles and winning in situations no other mid laner in the world was able to. His calculated, perfect play generated CS leads that just seemed impossible to overcome. It didn't matter who he was facing, which legend he'd come that day to kill. In lane, Chovy was inevitable.
라인전 준비를 솔직히 챔피언 간의 상성을 생각하면 대부분 생각하는 상성과 플레이가 정답이라고 생각을 해서 제가 생각하는 대로 하면 거의 다 이기는 것 같아요.
But Chovy wasn't winning. If you asked the best analysts in the world to look at his games, they'd tell you that he didn't make mistakes. But being a champion in League of Legends is about more than perfect play. Chovy struggled to make the big clutch plays that separated good players from great players. Even if he rarely lost lane, he wasn't always able to close. And even his immaculate, borderline robotic play still had gaps. Chovy's inability to convert his incredible mechanics into international wins led his haters to mock him. They called him choky. They thought he'd never do it, that true greatness in League couldn't be quantified. When Faker made magic, he won Worlds. When Showmaker styled, he won Worlds. When Doinby refused to bend to the meta, he won Worlds. But Chovy's so-called perfect play couldn't.
7 years the LCK has waited. 7 years Gen G has waited. A lifetime
But everything changed in 2024. Chovy lifted his first international trophy at MSI. He proved that he had what it takes to beat the best teams in the world. He'd finally earned his title. He'd proven the haters wrong. And for thousands of diehards around the world, the Church of Chovy, it was the coronation they'd waited years to watch. Chovy and Genji looked like they'd finally put the pieces in place. But at Worlds, they hit a wall.
Yeah, Nature's Grasp going to cut out the arrow, connecting on to Owner. Chains of Corruption just to try and buy some space. Oh, the flash! Oh no, Faker the knockup! And he's dead! Pieces arrows follow him into the death chamber as the impale his teeth, and Owner's still alive. He's so tanky, and it's Gumayushi taking matters into his own hands. The spears go wide and the party goes down.
Chovy was the best player in the world. He had remarkable, powerful players supporting him at every position. But it didn't matter. Not against Faker at Worlds. Not against the greatest roster of all time. Faker was supposed to lose the lane. Genji were supposed to outclass them. But ZOFGK could not be denied.
T1 are just looking for the prize. They're hungry for it. T1 are the past, the present, and the future. A new era, the same empire. T1 are your 2024 world champions.
Chovy left Paris and went home. A week later, Faker lifted his 5th Summoner's Cup in London. Again, Chovy fell short of the final hurdle. Again, he wasn't good enough. In the 2025 offseason, everything changed again.
Wait, T1 tweeted thank you Zeus.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my god, he went to Hammer Life. There is no way Doran is on T1. I just refuse to believe it.
Everything clicked for T1 after Zeus joined. They made 3 consecutive Worlds finals and won 2 of them. In his first few years of playing professionally, Zeus had already made a case for himself as the greatest top laner of all time. His departure was a seismic shift, and when T1 announced his replacement was Doran, a player infamous for his international struggles, fans and analysts alike were left scratching their heads. And the troubles for T1 weren't done.
We will be having T1 sub Gumayushi out, really for the first time since he and Teddy swapped positions back in 2021 with the Dany roster for Smash, their Challengers player who played alongside Reckless all year last year.
Smash was excellent in his lane. He was an exciting rookie. But Gumayushi is one of the most clutch international ADCs in history, a back-to-back defending world champion with a legion of supporters. The community was furious. The fans were up in arms. And one piece at a time, the greatest roster in history crumbled. But while T1 struggled, Chovy was consolidating his power. Genji brought back Ruler, one of the greatest AD carries of all time, fresh off a campaign in China that saw him chase a historic perfect season in 2023, only to be stopped at the final hurdle. Ruler was no stranger to struggles with Faker on the international stage. Their clashes in back-to-back world finals were legendary. But now, in a new era, he was reunited with Chovy, 2 of the best players in the world seeking revenge together. The new Genji took some time to solidify, but by spring, they were looking unstoppable.
Peanut's got to get in somehow. He was in the shroud, and they're not exactly able to zone him away. I think he can just dash in on that, and yeah, he goes in, but they immediately turn on the Peanut, and it will be the Otacon over to the side of Genji. Now a big sweep on a Zeus, and the damage from the soldiers is gigantic right next to that wall. As Hackett gets away somehow at the end of it all. He does it again. Wait, Chovy goes down. Chovy Penta angle, perhaps. As, yep, they're going to try to block for him. The quadrant comes through, and Chovy comes in and picks up the pentakill. And that's the biggest issue. Chovy also is just unkillable. They don't have the damage.
Chovy is so clean.
What? Chovy had evolved. His play wasn't just about lane anymore. He was the best in the world at skirmishing, at team fighting, at everything. Years ago, people called Chovy the best, but that wasn't his ceiling. Somehow, he just kept getting better.
I mean, Faker and Chovy gets him! Chovy, you psychopath!
준이 같은 경우는 이제 보통 이제 어느 정도 좀 잘하는 경지에 오르면 이제 더 잘할 그런 건덕지가 있나라고 저는 항상 생각했었는데 준이는 뭔가 지날 때마다 항상 뭔가 더 잘해진다는 느낌을 받아서 그런 게 좀 신기하다고 느낍니다.
As a big shield from Duro, and the equalizer, fantastic once again, right on top of Chovy, but he just walks his way out, and now Keen continuing to fight here. The dive forward from Duro, he gets a big heal from that primal surge, but it's a 1-for-1 in the end as the re-engage comes through the face breaker, the haymaker, it's Chovy all over again!
A perfect regular season, a win against HLE to book their tickets to MSI. As Chovy and Ruler turned their sights on Vancouver in July, they hadn't lost a series since February. This was Chovy's era, and it was time for him to win another trophy.
뭐 옛날에는 압박을 받았다고 생각하는데 최근에 있어서는 외부 평가 같은 게 개인적으로 신경 쓰이지도 않고 또 제가 잘하면 세계 최고의 선수가 될 수 있겠지라는 생각과 아쉽게 패배해서 세계 최고의 선수가 되지 못하면
They're coming from, I think, undoubtedly the strongest region in the world right now. So to go undefeated there is already ridiculous. And then to go international where the pressures, I think, are exponentially higher, and to play against teams that you're less familiar with, best players from every region in the world, and to not drop a series is just absolutely disgusting.
Chovy started MSI with a straightforward win over G2, an expected victory. But their next opponent was anyone's legend, the first seed from the LPL and one of the other odds-on favorites to win the whole thing. And they made Gen G sweat.
Drake the target firstly here for Gen G. Tarzan stepping forward, knocks back, the smite comes out. That is Canyon, Season 6 coming out as well. As they look for the backline, perfect execution. Canyon's gonna fall. Meanwhile, Shanks on the backline looking for a little bit more. He's on Chovy. Can chase forward, dodges the seismic shove, and Flandre takes the kill in the end. Shanks still going in, dodges the barrel dance and the grand entrance as well. Keen trying to get in, but Shanks' fancy feet are just sublime. Dragon already down at 5,000 HP. A flank position as well for Ruler, but he's called out by Shanks, and immediately assassinated! Shanks him, as Duro now with the quickness can only run and hide. Keen the next target, Duro comes back in, and it's a double for Shanks. Anyone's legends collapse immediately. To shield up Tarzan for now. The shutdown comes over to Hope as the chase continues. Shanks joins the fight, and he's spitting out Venom. He finds the shutdown. Ruler the flash away! The blade caller, but then pull it in from Duro's not enough! Shanks has found poison, and Gen G will suffer! Tarzan chasing further forward, double twin bangs! AL roar into life! Explosive cast coming out, Kyle stepping forward with the smite, but it's Canyon that secures it. Kyle's gonna dash away. Chovy looking for that backline, the backlands onto Tarzan, there's the permafrost follow-up, and Ruler takes the kill. Gen G begin to turn and burn, but they get hit with a rocket. Shanks and Hope step forward onto Keen. Canyon on the backline. Hope turning around onto Sejuani. A hook onto Shanks though, as he's rooted up and shut down. The Hexagol made him enough to kill him off. Flandre now caught out with the permafrost. Kyle's gonna die to Keen, and Gen G have found the fight. They follow it up for a clean ace.
Nerves of steel for Gen G in the final game. As Keen, yet another insane performance in this final one. As Gen G take down AL.
With that win, Chovy was through to the winners' finals, to a matchup that felt like fate.
Definitely was not expecting T1 to qualify. I thought HLE for sure. To me, HLE and Gen G, throughout the regular season, and especially seeing how dominant HLE was at first stand, I thought they were clear number 1 and number 2. But that is T1. It feels fake talking about them. It's like we're all just living in an anime and we're unaware, and Faker is clearly the protagonist, and T1 is the heroes, and we're all just like the side characters, right? Here to facilitate their story.
Somehow, despite a fraught season and endless reasons that they should have lost at every turn, T1 were once again vying for an international title. Gumayushi was back and better than ever.
Guma has his sums, but I think they can look to dive here.
I mean, he's just walking in. The Rune Prison is going to be so powerful. As flashes come out everywhere, and there is another kill onto Docton to start this one off. A 1-for-1, but T1 will 100% take that. Both summoners do come out of the Corki, but still, that is a great trade as T1 stands strong in the bottom lane.
사실 모든 선수들은 항상 주전 경쟁 속에서 살아온다고 생각하고 뭐 폼이나 실력이 떨어졌을 때 언제든지 이렇게 바뀔 수 있는 게 이 프로게이머의 위치라는 걸 다시금 좀 자각한 것 같고 이번 기회에 좀 더 제 장점과 단점에 대해서 깊게 생각하면서 그런 부분들을 보완하고 또 강화시키는 시간이었어서 도움이 많이 됐던 것 같습니다.
Doran was settling into the team. He gapped Zeus in their domestic playoffs match, as he often had before, and rolled into MSI determined to show that he deserved the spot.
일단 개인적으로 저도 작년에 속해 있던 하나생명에 또 친한 선수들이 많기 때문에 이제 하나생명과 같이 MSI에 진출하고 싶었는데 이제 한 팀은 떨어져야 해서 좀 아쉬운 상황이 오긴 했지만 일단 제우스 선수도 너무 잘하는 선수이기도 하지만 저희도 꼭 국제전이 간절했기 때문에 이렇게 출전하게 됐으니까 또 좋은 결과 꼭 내야 할 것 같아요.
And no matter how much T1 had struggled, this was still Faker's team, the defending world champions. Even the best teams in the world underestimate T1 at their own peril. In their first match of the tournament, Taiwan's CTBC Flying Oysters startled the world by taking T1 all the way to 5 games. Hong Q, an 18-year-old prodigy and the youngest player at the tournament, gapped Faker in some impressive one-sided games. He was 6 years old when Faker won his first World Championship.
就给自己鼓吧，因为我觉得我的对线是不会输其他人的。我觉得只要不紧张，然后维持好心态，就积极的去面对这场比赛，就是都有机会赢下来。
But T1 ultimately outclassed them, and they quickly silenced any doubters by crushing BLG 3-0. And that was enough for a date with destiny, with a spot in finals on the line.
Looks like we might just flip it. 3.9k instead. Genji collapsing on the flanker, but now it's T1 going all in onto Keen. Doro looking for the encounter gauge. A nice interrupt to stop from getting into the midst of the entire lineup. Carrier barely holding it alive, and they get the Otacon! Guma steals it! Chovy on the flank. Ruler trying to find the angle. Bit of CC down on a Faker. The flash forward he goes. Golden, can they try to turn this one back? A multi-man push into the waiting arms of Guma. Guma free firing, but Chovy flashes forward. Finds the CC. Quick QSS. Ulti out. The fight is so damn close. Ruler, one more bullet. Into the ulti. And it might just be curtains for T1 because Genji. What a fight. The quadra for Ruler. Retreat out from Doro. 4 members standing on the side of Genji, but T1 looking to run him down. Ruler caught. Knock up now connecting. Doran running out of health. The turn back coming in. Canyon. Damn clutch. Chovy needs the damage to finish the job, though, and he doesn't have it. Charging through is the Herald into the mid lane, and T1 gets the fight.
By Game 4, T1 got off to a strong start. But with the T1 Dragon Soul looming, Genji decided to force at Baron.
일단 저희 조합상 이제 뭔가 오브젝트를 치면서 이제 싸움을 시작했을 때 그림이 좀 괜찮다고 다들 느껴서 그렇게 좀 오브젝트에서 좀 교전을 유도했고.
But this was T1 at an international event. Maybe more than any team in history, the core of this roster knows how to play with pressure. They wouldn't be denied.
It kind of doesn't make sense. It has happened so many times where T1 will have these struggles and you're like, well, okay, this is finally it. Like T1's, not where they used to be. But then you come into playoffs and again, it's just like T1 magic. And just like that, they are firing all cylinders. So it's been really, really interesting, but it is so incredibly hard to predict against them just because it feels like all of the data is lined up for like why they should not win, but then they just win. But I feel like that's kind of T1, so what can you do?
Be back in.
Be in though.
Faker on the way. Keen needs to find a way out. Fear there. Knock back onto Keen. Right into the midst of the team, and now Doro and Ruler have to make all the difference. But Honor finds the reset. He's into the back line. It's him versus Ruler. But Ruler just takes it. They have to keep him running. They have to take him out of the equation. T1 should just finish it here. He's gliding. Flash. Pierce. He just continues to walk away. Marshall Poise trying to style on them. But the GA denied. Taken away, he'll find no value, and it is T1 find their man.
This Corgi is massive. The hero of this is Doran. This Gragas has been instrumental in these T1 fights. He showed up in playoffs to get them here. He's showing up massively again in this game.
T1 will not be denied a Game 5. Once more into the fray we go again.
This was the T1 that stopped Genji in their tracks in Paris. The Faker that won 5 world titles. Inevitable, unstoppable, unkillable. And Game 5 looked like T1 might do it again. Deep into Fearless, they managed a draft praised by fans and analysts alike. Quintessential T1 with devastating early game firepower.
Two sides of the map, Owner ready with the setup. They want to go all in on this Renekton. Doran trying to style the exhaust already there. Ulting back through to get under the tower, but now he's face first with Canyon. Dash through his key. Looking for the catch out. And on the top side, the beat of warfare is claimed. A massive influx of gold.
But then, disaster struck.
You can see how hard it is for T1 without an angle of attack to kick these fights off. All eyes on Doran. The Ambessa wants to keep things going. Quick flash out. Ruler still standing. Duro tries to get a sidestep, but it does not matter. Keen keeping things going. An exhaust under the Ambessa. And it's Chovy! Chovy in the midst of the fight. Keeping it going as Keen wants to go forward. Guma off on the side. Completely isolated. Eyes on the Draven, though he might just be able to catch up. But it's the reset for Ruler. Ruler looking to make good as Carrier tries to find the fight, but it's Guma isolated on the side. Looking to take down Ruler. One more auto, but it doesn't quite have the damage. Ruler living in the clutch. Gen.G hold the line. Gen.G knock down T1 and advance to the finals.
After 5 gut-wrenching games, Chovy and his team edged past T1 by the narrowest of margins. But MSI has a lower bracket, and T1 had one more chance to make the finals. AL were waiting for T1 there, and just like their series against Gen.G, China's Best pushed T1 to the limit. MSI already had the most 5-game series of any tournament in history, and so it only seemed right for this one to go the distance. But in the end, T1 had destiny on their side, and this tournament could only ever have ended in one way.
And it's T1, baby! The more improbable it seems, the more inevitable they become! T1 continue to defy the odds and vanquish the LPL once again!
If Chovy was going to take his second MSI, he'd have to beat the most clutch player in history, the greatest player of all time, and the most successful international org ever again. Going into the finals, all eyes were on Chovy. This was a player who had continually surpassed his own limits, who was redefining what greatness meant in real time.
가장 큰 강점은 당연히 저는 라인전이라고 생각해요. 라인전 같은 경우 너무 강하고 딜 계산도 완벽히 하고 그렇다고 한타나 운영을 못하는 것도 아니고 장점이라고 하면은 그냥 모든 걸 잘하는 것 같아요. 그냥 볼수록 완벽해지고 계속 잘하는 것 같습니다. 초비 선수. 저도 그렇게 저번에 얘기한 것 같아요. 초비 선수 보면 항상 한계가 없는 것 같아요.
But T1 were coming in hot and had already pushed Gen.G to their limits. This was still 4/5 of the best roster of all time, still the game's greatest ever player. And everyone knows, T1 in the Grand Finals, Faker in the Grand Finals, is a different animal. You can never count them out. Going into the Grand Finals, Chovy and Faker had played a staggering 122 games against each other across years of domestic clashes, worlds, and MSI. Their record? 61-61. One way or another, this rivalry was about to turn a page.
Duro's unbreakable. Chovy zoning everybody away here with the unraveled earth. Owner wants to make his entry, but the Otacon is secured by Canyon. Gen.G have the objective, but what about the fight right after? Owner goes in. Chovy gets out. Owner goes down. Ruler goes off. Keen looking to zone Faker over the back as Doran makes his way into the fight, but he can't snip anybody out. Now he's shot by Ruler, and it's a double kill for the man with the double guns. Faker with a beautiful shockwave to turn the fight at the end, but it's still a 2-for-1 favoring Gen.G. Ruler trying to vamp up the minions. Carrier wants to catch him. Gumayushi's low. Ruler looking to turn around, but he doesn't have the health. Gumayushi lived. Double kill. Faker.
Game 1 saw T1 take a convincing win, but after days of nail-bitingly close series, everyone knew it wasn't over. Gen.G fired back in Game 2, turning around an early T1 lead and cruising to victory. And yet, T1 weren't done.
T1 got to be ready to turn out the lights here. Soon with the back and storm over, and he crashes down from Duro. Equalizer over the top and a ton of damage back to the Gen.G support. Backline of Gen.G under a little bit of pressure as Ruler's first to die. Owner going in looking for Chovy here too. Canyon shoveled away as Chovy has to run. T1 domination.
With their backs against the wall, Gen G would have to win 2 in a row to take the series against the most dominant international team in history. But each game that went by made victory more complicated. MSI was the second international tournament ever to use Fearless Draft. Champions picked in the series were removed from the pool for following games, and drafting in a long best-of-5 was more difficult than it had ever been.
I think drafting has become more important by far than it has ever been, which to me is actually really exciting because I do like the idea of coaches having more of an impact on the actual game. They can't coach once the players are actually playing on the Rift and tell them, okay, go Dragon now or whatever, but just like in traditional sports, coaches do have a big impact on game day, and I think this is moving more towards that.
T1 drafted a straightforward composition in Game 4 that should have been able to roll front-to-back teamfights, the backbone of MSI so far. Gumayusi's Jinx seemed like she had all the protection she needed to take over the game. One of the most clutch ADCs in history had everything he needed to lift another trophy. But Ruler was hungry for another international win.
Is over in the mid lane. Duro looking to make a move onto Faker. He finds the grand entrance with a quickness, and Ruler puts bullets through Faker's heart. Gen G with a kill on the enemy mid laner now has control. A TP about to show up as the gravity well welcomes Doran to the battlefield. Duro stunned up into the wall. Grand exit right back over. Doran goes all out. Ton of damage on the team. He's gonna get killed. Ruler ready to get excited. Ton of damage on the T1, and they're all getting evaporated. T1 are washed from the Rift. One final game. Gen G tie up the series. We're going to Game 5.
Gen G versus T1. Chovy versus Faker. Game 5. It was fate. It was destiny. It was the only way this could end.
It all comes down to this. One last time. One last Game 5 here in Vancouver for MSI. Is Gen G gonna be able to get their streak at 23 series? Or is T1 gonna be able to break their MSI curse? Are you ready?
But with so many champions removed from the pool, Gen G's options were limited. So they did what they'd done before. They locked in comfort picks for the best players in the world.
확실히 이제 동안 1, 2세트를 지나고 나서는 이제 상위 티어의 픽들이 좀 지워지면서 이제 리신, 니달리 그 살짝 아래에 있는 티어들도 세트가 지나면서 높아진다 생각해서 확실히 좀 다양한 챔피언을 볼 수 있다고 생각합니다.
Canyon took Nidalee, just like he did in Game 5 of the upper bracket final. But this time, T1 were ready for it. T1's draft seemed perfect. They had hard CC, Karma to nullify Nidalee spears, and Caitlyn to smash bot lane with her early. Gen G's comp seemed all but unplayable. If Gen G were gonna win MSI, if Chovy and Ruler were gonna get revenge, they would have to play perfectly. But of course, this is Gen G. This is Chovy. Perfect is what he does.
This is the time here in the match. If there's ever a time to stand up, that's the time to do it. T1 though might just get dove. Make it right, putting the pressure on. Gumayusi with a flash away. Between worlds goes Chovy, and Carrier goes down. Guma goes with them. A double kill for Ruler. Doran looking off to the side, but he's already been chucked. T1 bringing in the TP as Gen G go after the Herald. It is claimed and secured by Canyon. Keen trying to get away from the Karma root as Doran goes over the wall. Flash Ruthless Predator. Doran is low. Bullet time gets him. Gumayusi barely staying alive, but it's 2 kills back the other way. Chovy stepping up. Owner goes in for the Spectral Maul, but Duro dashing back away. TP coming in as Gen G immediately trying to go after Doran. A lot of damage back onto him with the bullet time over the top, but they ain't gonna find a kill here just yet. Chovy looking to get away. Keen unstoppable. Nobody on Gen G is down. Keen with a double kill. And Gen G are so much better in the team fights. Guma goes down. Carrier goes down. Gen G, they did not falter on the road to MSI. They didn't fail here in Vancouver for 23 series. They have chased perfection, and now they found it.
As the pyrotechnics settled in the Pacific Coliseum and Chovy hoisted his second back-to-back trophy, he'd made his statement. He came to Vancouver to prove that he was the best, and he did. But the job wasn't done. This wasn't over. He knew it, Ruler knew it too.
일단 저번에 T1에서 T1한테 이제 국제 대회에서 진 게 월즈 무대였는데 이번에 MSI에서 저희가 T1을 이기고 우승한 건 그건 그거고 월즈 때는 또 따로 복수를 하면서 승리할 수 있도록 계속 저희의 그 실력을 갈고 닦아두겠습니다.
After all, Chovy has won MSI before, and he led another super team to crushing defeat at a world championship that was all but his to claim. This year, since Gen.G have already clinched playoffs in Korea, their MSI win guarantees them a spot at Worlds. But by the time teams gather in China, it seems all but certain they'll meet the GOAT there as well, and he knows he can beat them.
이번 MSI 기간 동안 좀 저희 팀이 굉장히 잘 해왔고 그래서 오늘 패배가 조금 많이 더 아쉬움이 남는 것 같고요. 젠지 상대로 저희가 이번에 2번 지긴 했지만 또 다음에 만나면은 충분히 이길 수 있다는 것을 좀 배웠고 이번 경기를 토대로 계속해서 배우고 발전하는 게 중요한 것 같습니다.
League of Legends, esports as a whole, are at their best when there's real competition, when the greatest teams have rivals pushing them forward. Chovy has spent the last year reaching the pinnacle of League and then showing the world that he can still climb higher. But nobody knows what it takes to win Worlds better than Faker. And when these giants clash again, the world will be watching.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring the notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit us up on our X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.